America urgently needs the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. One cooljet has flown 100,000 hours. The reality is that the country needs the F-35, and pulling out of the current program poses a very dangerous risk. The United States Air Force faces a crucial point when it comes to the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. Anyone who's watched the news over the last few months can't afford to miss the high-speed attack on the program. Whether it's Home Armed Service Chairman Adam Smith referring to his fifth-generation fighter as a «rat hole», or headlines saying the plane has failed, the message is very aggressive and scathing. The program still experiences many challenges, especially in terms of software updates, engines, and maintenance costs. However, such challenges are nothing compared to the accomplishments that planes demonstrate every day they fly. Defense acquisition programs, especially those that adopt advanced technology in new ways, are always fraught with challenges. To make the F-35 a failure would be a huge inaccuracy. However, the optics are important, especially if Congress is involved, and it is critical for the Air Force to regain control of the debate by interrupting real data, not alarming conjecture. The reality is that the country needs the F-35, and pulling out of the current program poses a very dangerous risk. Laughing at the newest fighter from the vocal minority is a long-established tradition. One can look back on the early days of now legendary types such as the B-52, F-15, F-16, B-1, and C-17 and discover sensational stories filled with doom and gloom. Aircraft innovation demands technology that transcends boundaries to tackle the challenges of the future. This always encourages trial-by-error discovery, cost growth, and schedule delays, bait for attacks by competing entities. The pattern is clear. Ridiculing the program as unnecessary, irreparable, and too expensive. Then recommend canceling the program, extending the life of existing aircraft, or buying more low-cost, less capable aircraft. Here's the problem with such thinking. It is dealing with security requirements, economic common sense, and historical lessons to be learned. First and foremost, it is important to recognize that the global security environment is not controlled by the United States. The enemy has voting rights. Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the rapid rise of ISIS in 2014, together with China's increasingly aggressive actions in the Pacific, are proof of this. The United States must defend its interests, or risk severe consequences. The growth of modern threat capabilities and capacities required the capabilities of the F-35, and was purchased in sufficient quantity. If opponents get what they want and programs are cancelled or dramatically restricted, then billions in development, testing, and initial production will be wasted. Fees will be collected to extend the life of older and less capable aircraft. With increasing security needs, Air Force will always have to redouble to launch new programs to fill the void. This is what happened to the B-2. The state only bought 21, not the planned 132. Same for the F-22, with only 187 procurement, not the 386 as stipulated by validated military requirements. In both cases, shortages remain, and the service will have to launch a new program to fill the void, in this case, the B-21 and Next Generation Air Dominance, NGAD, fighters. This pattern must be stopped. Investing billions in the front of a program but failing to deliver on planned capacity is a narrow view in a strategic way and not economically sound. How many people build homes, but leave because they don't want to deal with last-minute cost growth and schedule delays? The answer is clear: none. If the requirements remain valid, taking advantage of sunk costs, encouraging inevitable development challenges, and buying in bulk is a sensible approach. This is what makes Reagan-era building so effective. The service gains significant forward-leaning capability and capacity, an investment we still rely on 40 years later. If the requirements remain valid, taking advantage of sunk costs, encouraging inevitable development challenges, and buying in bulk is a sensible approach. This is what makes Reagan-era building so effective. The service gains significant forward-leaning capability and capacity, an investment we still rely on 40 years later. If the requirements remain valid, take advantage of the sunk cost. Push for the inevitable development challenges, and buying in bulk is a sensible approach. This is what makes Reagan-era building so effective. The service gains significant forward-leaning capability and capacity, an investment we still rely on 40 years later. If the requirements remain valid, taking advantage of sunk costs, encouraging inevitable development challenges, and buying in bulk is a sensible approach. This is what makes Reagan-era building so effective. The service gains significant forward-leaning capability and capacity, an investment we still rely on 40 years later. Over the past 30 years, the Air Force has been forced to halt the planned modernization of its aircraft because of petty calls for a post-Cold War peace dividend, the ground-centered focus fueled by Afghanistan and Iraq, and the fiscal shortcomings generated by the Budget Control Act. As a result, the service now has the smallest and oldest fleet of aircraft in its history at a time when demand for the troops surged. The only way to overcome this challenge is to multiply the programs currently produced: F-35, B-21, KC-46, T-7, MH-139, MQ-9, GBSD and others. The Air Force needs to be healthy, and that is best done with solutions today. An undue focus on the next program will result in billions in expenditures and operational capacity never materializes. That means the combat commander is robbed of the necessary capabilities and the pilot stretches to the cusp of flying an aging aircraft. Those critical of the F-35 need to take some time to consider Air Force options. First and foremost, the spectrum of air combat missions performed by aircraft provides the non-negotiable conditions necessary for any successful military operation. Ships at sea, troops on land, space control centers, logistics lines and bases of operations could not survive a joint attack from the sky. Questioning whether the Air Force needs modern combat aircraft to fulfill this mission misses this major reality. While the Navy and Marine Corps have combat aircraft, their inventories lack the scale of the Air Force, theatrical and global perspectives, and are insufficient to meet the demands of national combatant commanders. While some may worry that the Air Force's future combat forces